Hello, everybody. Tonight, how is everybody? I hope everybody's doing good. Uh, we are going to do an abbreviated show tonight because of the election, and I know a lot of you are interested, like I am, for what's going on and what's going to happen. No political statements, please.
Oh, come on.
No,
I'm kidding.
no political statements, please. Um, I hope everybody's doing good tonight. We are going to discuss some missing military people that just turned up missing, and I call them my American heroes. They turned up missing for no apparent reason, not really AWOL, absent without leave, but they turned up to be absent without leave. Um, but we're going to discuss a few. I also have a very close friend of ours going to helping me out on some other cases. I'm going to talk about probably tomorrow or Friday. Um, but we wanted to discuss these tonight. While we got a lot of these don't have much information on them, but we will discuss a couple of them. The first one that I'm going to touch on is Trevor Nichols, and he went missing. At the time, he was 24 years old. This happened in 2017. He was on foot. Let me get out my notes here. I should have had them in some type of order, but I didn't.
Y'all forgive him. He's got a bad headache tonight.
Yeah, I do have a bad headache tonight. I actually just got it too within the last couple of hours. I do not know why.
I do.
Well, I don't.
You're gonna owe me $100.
No. Well, but Trevor went missing in 2017, and he basically was on foot from public transportation. He got off public transportation and disappeared. No information much about him that I could find. Let me see if I have. I think I might have copied another one here. Yeah, here is a little bit more, except he was preparing to get transferred to Fort Riley, Kansas, and where he from Fort up in New York, Fort Drummond, I guess it is, up in New York. He lived. He was separating from his wife. So, we're not sure if he had some depression issues or not. He left behind his driver's license, military ID card, and his cell phone. He generally, hold on a minute. I got a light problem. It just fell.
It's okay. I'll get it. Maggie walked by.
Maggie walked by and hit the light and knocked it over. That's real good. Let's blame it on Maggie.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Did that come out?
Huh?
That.
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll deal with that in a little bit.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. Always something.
Always something.
Got
he previously deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, so he could have had some PTSD.
He was 24 years old.
24 years old. Wow. That is a shame too. This is another good picture of him, but better picture of him, I think. I apologize, man. It's just tonight's just not my night.
That was a ghost. He is such a fine-looking young man.
Handsome young man, and to be just disappeared off the face of the earth, pretty much. And it could have been, the thing is, if he would try to hurt himself or whatever, it looked like they would have found somebody, found his body or whatever, because you're not talking about being disappearing in Afghanistan. You're talking about disappearing in Kansas.
Do you know about the divorce?
I don't know anything. And a lot of this stuff I do not know anything about. This gentleman right here, missing from Woods Cross, Utah. He's Hispanic. He's born, date of birth is 27 of 75, 45 years old. He disappeared 2017. 5'8", 170 pounds, black North Face jacket, blue fleece pullovers, khaki pants, possibly tin, and hiking boots, Hispanic male. The details is that he was last seen at his home in Woods Cross, Utah on November the 12th, 2017. He has never been heard from again. At 3 p.m. that day, his car was found at the entrance to Muller Park in Bountiful, Utah. Few details are available of the case, and this is a problem with these cases, that few details are available for it. He had worked in the fields of retail, pharmacy, freelance photography, graduated Salt Lake Community College. This remains unsolved.
Did he, was he going hiking? He was wearing hiking boots?
It appears that he was. There's $10,000 reward for this, and my information is that he was military or had something to do with the military.
Question.
Yes.
It says he left home on Sunday at 11:12 on the 12th of November, 2017 at 1:35 p.m. His car was found around 3 p.m. on the same day. So his car was somebody putting the word out to look for his car? I mean, why was his car found an hour?
My guess, they ran his tag number and they found out it was listed to him. And then when he turned up missing, then they put two and two together.
Okay.
You know, that's what I would think.
That just sounds strange to
He
me.
speaks English and Spanish. Missing on foot. So it's just a very strange type disappearance. He just wound up gone, basically. This is one that I wanted to touch on too. This is Joseph Bushling, missing. Nickname None. This is also from Utah, Dugway, Utah, on 2011. He was 26 years old at the age. He was 180 to 200 pounds, brown hair, had a tribal tattoo on his left bicep. A couple of scars, one for appendicitis and a gallbladder scar. According to his last phone call he made in distress, he was in distress. Army specialist Joseph Bushling, a soldier stationed at the Army base at Dugway, Utah, drove out into the desert on 2011 black Mitsubishi Lancer on May 8th, 2011. Well, let me see. Okay, he drove out in the desert on May 8th. At 7 p.m., he called a friend saying that he was ran out of gas and he was going to try to walk back to the base. He was in distress as it was cold and raining, and he had lost his flip-flops. His vehicle was found abandoned in a deep ravine 6 days later, 64 miles away from his base. Some distance away, his hat was also found. No further evidence has been found in this case, and Joseph had not been seen or heard from since. November 2014, he was given a military with honors and declared dead.
Okay, well, he went missing on May 8, 2011, so they declared him dead after 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I didn't know they did that.
I didn't know they did that either, but that's what they did on this case. That is him right there. That's a missing poster of him. So, we don't know. His family said that foul play had been involved, that he would not go absent without leave, or not make contact with them. They're extremely distraught and need information. The situation. They're distraught about the military. And I imagine, but we don't know what was going on with him while he was in the military or what was happening. But all these guys are young, look like they're in shape, for just missing. But Utah, I don't know if you've ever been to Utah, but it's primarily desert. It's rock face, red rock and desert. So it's very easy to find that you could get lost and pretty much die out there if you didn't have some means of keeping yourself alive, water and other things. Especially in May. May'd be pretty hot out there. This is Trevor Nichols. Well, Trevor, your rings a bell from the Suzanne Morphew case, and Nichols, because that name's come up in another case. The last name Nichols came up in another case.
Okay.
Trevor was a specialist at E4 United States Army. He went missing on the last. After last being seen November the 17th at Fort Drum, New York. Trevor Nichols had spoke to his mother on November the 14th, just a few days before his disappearance. Trevor was packing his apartment in preparations for a move from Fort Drum, New York to Fort Riley, Kansas, with a report date on December of 2017. Trevor left behind his driver's license, military ID card, and a cell phone. Did we cover this a few minutes ago? We may have.
Yeah.
We did.
I don't know. He looks like the same guy.
Wait, let me go back to this because here I am feeling like my head wouldn't hurt so bad I could do this. Yeah, we did. I apologize for that. I apologize.
Got here late. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. Read it again a little bit more. I've got such a headache tonight, I can't think. This is the one that just left everything and kind of walked off. And here's the one. He'd already been in Afghanistan, Iraq on tour. Very, very sad situation. Very sad situation.
Yes.
Now, this one right here is one that is really, really, I don't understand why the military and the United States government does not get involved. This is missing U.S. Marine. He was abducted. Torres III, Amandro Torres III, along with his father and uncle, were last seen on May 14th, 2013. As an American went to visit his family on their ranch in Mexico. When believed to be, the backstory of this is members of the cartel wanted to use his father's ranch as a jumping off point to smuggle drugs into the United States. And what they did was they came on the ranch and kidnapped his father, him, and another person. Now, you listen to this is 7 years ago. 7 years ago. Never heard a bit about this. Not one person I've heard this from. According to the FBI, there's an ongoing criminal investigation in Mexico. Yeah, I understand that. But he's a Marine. They ought to sent the Marines down there to get him,
That's right. I agree.
Gracie says here that he drove across the International Port of Entry Bridge in Progreso, Texas, to visit his father's ranch at La Ranca, I guess that is, I can't pronounce that, Mexico, which is located near the International Port of Entry. Shortly after he arrived to the ranch, armed gunmen entered the ranch and took all three of the Torres family members by force. They have They have not been seen or heard from since this event. Family members said they were kidnapped by armed men believed to be cartel members. Reportedly took control over a portion of the ranch, using it as a distribution point to smuggle drugs into the U.S. You know, this ought to be a case that we all should call our congressmen about, our senators about, and say, hey, y'all need to do something about this case. Bring this to light, because can you imagine that? What would Mexico do if a Mexican citizen came over here, a Mexican soldier, and was kidnapped by druggies in the United States and held for hostage ransom or whatever? You know, he probably is not alive, but still, you know, I have not heard. This should be in national news.
Yes,
ABC News should have this on the national news.
Does anybody
about
remember it being covered?
I don't even remember it ever being covered, and I couldn't even find nothing else on it. This one was so, it was so disrupted to me that I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that the U.S. government, you know, did not come back and come back with this thing. Who was president in 2013? Barack Obama. You know, I don't know. I'm not blaming Barack Obama, but you know, the government should do something about this. Even now, that should be one thing. You know, I don't know if they may have information that he's dead, but still, that ought to be huge. That ought to be on the news. It should have been, you know, should have been brought up. I've never heard anything about this. And that,
well, you remember the other day we had somebody taken down in Mexico, wasn't it? And
no, it was in Africa.
Somewhere, and within 96 hours.
Yeah, it was in Nigeria, Africa. Within 96 hours, the SEAL Team 6 went in and got him. Yeah, I think SEAL Team 6 should have went down to Mexico and got this guy. You know, it's just really aggravating me that all this time we're talking about a country that's just, you know, right across the border. You're not talking about Afghanistan or somewhere. You're talking about Mexico. And I never heard anything about it. Nothing at all. It's just aggravating. I'm telling you, I don't think that I mean, this one got me more than any I have in a long time, that about law enforcement and our government, is why didn't we hear something, and why didn't we send people down there to get him? You know, because obviously the Mexican government's not going to do anything. I would like to find, I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to call my congressman about that for sure. I'm going to put that out here, so I'll make sure I do that. At least find out, you know, what the heck, you know? I hate to just be rushing through these, but there's not much information on these. Really, there's not. What I have is what I'm telling y'all about.
Well, one of the things about the military guys is I think it affects us more because of my family being military. Your dad and all of his brothers going to war, and
yeah,
I mean, we're military families, which that's less. They say 1% of American families have served in the military.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe, but
is that person on there? Did you do that?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But so we've got Tommy and I both have family who have been in the military.
Yeah, my father
forever.
went to World War II. He spent most of his time in the Philippines and in combat. And his daddy told him he'd be back in 3 months. He was back in 4 years. And he spent his time in the Philippines and also in occupied Japan. He came back with full-blown malaria. He came back with a Bronze Star and a disability, but he worked still 25 years for the government after that. The next one I'm going to cover is this one, and I have no idea how to pronounce his name. He's Mason Van Kuren, maybe. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. You'll see it in a second, I'm sure. He's missing on March 17, 2013. They considered him a endangered missing. A U.S. infantry specialist translator. He was missing from San Angelo, Texas. He's born 1991, 22 years old when he's missing. Brown hair, brown eyes, long lashes, it says. 65 inches tall, 140 pounds. Hometown is Bradenton, Florida. He was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado. He had dog tags, a wedding ring, brushed sterling, polished gloves. It said the edge of sunglasses. But let me see, I'll go to page 2 on this. Officially went missing on March 18th that year. He was married and had a family searching, continued search for him. Mason, originally from Brandon, Florida, stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado, left the base without permission on March 14th, 2013, when he had 3 days off. So obviously he had 3 days off and he left. He drove to Fort Hood, Texas area to visit his best friend, Will, who was also from that part of Florida, but stationed at Fort Hood. Shortly after, he encountered a problem, which he had his gun collection in his car and didn't have the proper permits to carry. His car was impounded, and on the 18th of March, Mason was last seen purchasing a ticket to Abilene, Texas, so he could return to Colorado Springs. He never arrived. So he did have intentions, apparently, of returning to Colorado Springs, but he didn't arrive. According to his captain per family, he was being checked for PTSD prior to disappearance. Mason had used his blank bank card. He hasn't used his bank card, cell phone, or posted on social media since he went missing. Family and friends say it was unusually quiet and somewhat withdrawn. And looking back, they realized, in fact, that he was suffering from PTSD and not known if he harmed himself or he could harm himself. And they're afraid he's wandering around in a depressive state and considered endangered missing. So they don't know if he could have harmed himself, but apparently they may be afraid that he's had a mental break and he's maybe homeless somewhere. So this guy could be out there just as a street person, basically, because obviously he had some type of mental breakdown, and he's, if he hasn't hurt himself, he very well could have been a street person. So this is one that might in the future turn up, but I can't imagine. It's been 7 years at least, almost 8 years ago. I apologize for going so quickly on this, but this is not a good night for me.
They said quit apologizing. Just do what you do and don't worry.
Yeah, I've had a major headache for the last couple of hours, and
you're good, buddy.
I guess so.
You are, I promise.
All right. And as you can tell by my eyes, I've got a headache. I know I look bad now. As I can tell myself, I look bad now.
I think
there's a show there. And the last one, and I don't know why I don't have a picture of him. Joseph Weber, 28 years old, Sunnyvale, California. He was last seen in 2014. See his circumstances. Joseph Weber, 28, Diane's college student and Iraqi war veteran, was reported missing by his family. He left home in Sunnyvale on November 24th, 2014, and was last seen in San Francisco, and the California Highway Patrol found his car in the Golden Gate Bridge employee parking on November the 27th, according to police reports. Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety Captain Jeff Hunter says, at this point, we have CHP checked their surveillance cameras. There was images of him on the bridge and with a crowd of people. Hunter said, while there was no signs that he jumped, but no signs that he walked off the bridge either. He has not been seen since. Joseph served 2 tours in Baghdad as a military police officer. His family is desperately seeking him. He suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and has a traumatic brain injury. He suffered an explosion while serving overseas. He has concerns in midterm exams. He has concerns over midterm exams at college and was going through a divorce. His cell phone is off and no banking activity. So there's a possibility, and a pretty good possibility, that he leaped off the bridge if he was not seen leaving the bridge. It's a wonder to me, because they've had so many people jump off that bridge that they don't put some big nets underneath it, like 10 or 20 feet down. They put big like nets. I mean, I know you just hate to see people, would do something like that. But, if they've got all these people jumping off that bridge, and killing themselves, I can't imagine why they don't do something like that. It's sad to think that they would have to, but obviously they say if you fall from that height that the water would be honestly like concrete. You would kill you instantly. So, I don't know. But I think there have been people that have lived, though. So they jump off the bridge and they live, just like the people that jump, do the Niagara Falls in the barrel. There's some people that actually live.
Yeah, Felicia said, or put a chain link at the top.
Yeah.
How many people jump, and when they're going down, they think, why did I do this?
Yeah, a minute they leave. That could be the minute they leave the rail, they probably have doubts.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, anything. They could put nets up that down 20 or 30 feet where they'd at least be catch them, but or something, I don't know.
They have nets on the New York City bridges and people still find a way. Yeah, if somebody wants to kill themselves, they're going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. If somebody wants to die, it's just like, you would think they could want to get help, but I know sometimes they say, I talked to one in particular I know that has tried to kill themselves, and they say they just want to end the pain. They don't think about anything else, their family or anything. They just want to end the pain.
Well, but that one could also be looking for attention.
Maybe.
I mean, how many times has she tried? A bunch.
Yeah. But I know one too, a guy that's tried a bunch of times too.
It's sad. It's sad that somebody feels like that.
You
they
went
get to the end.
You talked to one the day before,
I know.
They did, and claimed they wouldn't do suicide, and yet did it anyway.
I had a young man call me one night, and he was in our youth group before, and he was in my youth group about 20 years ago, and he called me one night and he was acting strange on the phone, and I kept saying, "Why did you call me?" And he said, "Well, I've just got some stuff on my mind." And then he told me that, he would never kill himself because he wouldn't do that to his mother. And I said, "Well, that's good to know." And we talked a few more minutes, and I told him, I said, "Well, God's got a plan for your life." And he said, "That's all you and my mother ever talk about is God, God, God." And I said, "Well, you called me because you knew that's what I would talk about to you." And I said, "Can I pray with you before you go?" And he said, "No, I'll talk to you another time, Miss Dina." And the next time the phone rang, 2 days later, it was his mom telling me that he had committed suicide.
So you never can tell what somebody has got on their mind, their heart.
I think the demons of hell drive people to it.
Yeah. Depression is something that you can't, if somebody's never had it, you can't explain to them what it's
No.
like. You can't. That deep a depression. If somebody's or anxiety, if you can't tell people what it's like to have anxiety, you can't. So when you try to explain it to them, depression or something else, that they'll, why don't you just? I've heard this. Why don't you just be happy? I have been depressed in my life. I've never been so depressed I felt like killing myself. I have had anxiety in my life, but it's easy for somebody to say, "Oh, just don't pay no attention to that," or just change the way you're thinking. You can't do that. Your body has got some type of chemical imbalance going on, and you just can't. You can't just say, "I'm going to snap out of it." If you start to be real depressed and then be real happy, you're bipolar or something. But there's a lot of different things. I think what breeds a lot of this stuff is when they go overseas and they see a lot of things that they see, but then they have survivor guilt. They made it back and maybe their buddy didn't make it back, or they got injured and they came back, or they got released back early, or they got to come home after their tour and they feel guilty about leaving their buddies over there. I know some people like that actually have survivor guilt. But these are basically, we talked about 5 different young men and they were probably another 25 or 30 that I could have talked about that had been found dead. There were a few women that I went back and tried to find. When I find one, I try to find more information on them, and then I'd find that their remains had been recovered or found in the desert. There were 2 or 3 women that were like that. Their remains had been found. 2 or 3 men that their remains had been found, and they're really not sure what happened. They had been found in the desert, or they had been found. The car broke down. They walked. They got a heat stroke, or whatever, or they end up either killing themselves, or just like the guy's car that found at the Golden Gate Bridge, and he was seen in a crowd at the Golden Gate Bridge, but he was not seen coming off. They probably will never find him, because the way that water is under there, it's got currents trap you underwater, or your body may go out to sea. I mean, that's ships go through there all the time. You may never find them. So, you just have to take an account. But I would still, man, I just can't imagine as a parent is missing your son or daughter that went off to serve our country, came back and was so mentally mixed up in the head that he ends up hurting himself. And you got to realize too, 22 service members a day kill themselves. 22. So that is a lot. That is a lot. And so that's why a lot of people are trying to do, they're trying to get them in counseling, try to get them in some type of therapy. But here's what you got to remember, and this is for police officers too, and firefighters and ambulance drivers and soldiers, that there is a big, I've seen cops that seriously needed some psychological help because they were traumatized by things that they've seen or had to be involved in. And yet, if you do go get help and you see somebody, the department will tag you as not being suitable for higher risk assignments like SWAT team and narcotics and other things like that. Just like I know of a guy that witnessed, or he was involved in a car chase, and 5 people died. He called the car chase off about a mile or 2 down the road from where they ran a stop sign, and it hit a tractor trailer truck, hit them and killed all 5 kids in the car. Now these are young kids, all teenagers, and I'm sure. Now I don't know if he ever got counseling. I know that it was offered to them.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What?
MH said something funny.
Well,
I didn't.
but
I'm sorry.
it was the wrong time, I guess, when you laughed at the wrong time.
I did. I did not mean to. MH made me laugh.
But it was just, they saw something that was not needed to be seen. And I remember another incident we had where a car had run off the road and hit a tree and caught fire, and they were able to get the driver out, but he was severely burned. He was begging them to kill him. And the other one was trapped. A woman was trapped in the car, and she was screaming, help me, I'm burning. And they could not get her out. Her legs were pinned, and they tried and they couldn't get her out. So, that was traumatized those guys big time. And I'll tell you, I saw a little 11-year-old boy get run over by a car and died, and turned around and they made me work the accident, which that shouldn't have been done. I should have never worked that accident. And that's a situation that bothers me even to today. So it just, you cannot, they say soldiers they get traumatized in that year that they're over there, but policemen maybe see it for 30 years of their whole career. So I think it's equally as bad in law enforcement and firefighters and stuff like that. But if you need help, talk to somebody. That's for sure. It's not going to make you look weak, although it is stigmatized in law enforcement, firefighting, and soldiers. Even in soldiers, it stigmatizes you because then they don't know if they can trust you to be in high risk assignments. It's just the way it is. Nothing you can do about it. What's so funny?
I'm sorry. Retired Sergeant Melinda must have told somebody that she gave her ex-husband water to drink out of the toilet.
Oh Lord! Did you make her a mod?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Well, why? I guess that's just what I want to know is why.
Well, if he had a potty mouth.
Well, I mean, why? Why? That's all I want to say.
She didn't give me any ideas.
No,
you never made me that mad.
Oh God! all I want to know is why. That's all I want to know.
Because he deserved it. She said.
Oh Lord, he must have done something really bad. He must have done something really bad to do that. Did you tell him? That's the main thing. That would be the,
Oh, gross.
What?
Oh, she used his toothbrush on the toothbrush.
Oh gosh, that's mean. That's really mean. He must have did something really bad.
Oh.
He must have done something really, really bad. Yes, Lux.
Did you add some peppermint?
Yeah, please, Lux, if you need somebody to talk to, also talk to somebody.
She was talking.
For sure.
Yeah, she was saying that she felt guilty for not feeling like she needed to.
No. Gracie.
Go lay down.
What's your problem?
Go lay down.
Yeah, I wanna hear about that sometime. Abuse. Well, I guess if the right abuse could have happened, that would have been a thing. But did you tell him? That's the one thing, because that would be
I wouldn't have told him.
That would be the ultimate,
Hey, have any of y'all seen the movie The Help? If you have not seen the movie The Help, you need to watch it. Every time I make a chocolate pie, my son says, "Are you going to eat that?" I tell him yes because I made it.
Yeah. Yeah, how come? I don't know. We need to really call about that one case. And, even though it's been a while, it's been 7 years, I want to know why the U.S. government can leave a U.S. Army or a guy down there in Mexico kidnapped by the cartel and not do something about it. I want to know why that did not happen. That is crazy.
Angel says, I think the military police did get involved, but it was very hushed.
The police don't, military police, I say send the daggum SEAL team down there and get him out. You got a cartel. I don't think the military police is going to do it, especially because the Mexican police are, the corruption involved, especially with the cartel. That to me is no excuse for not having full military intervention. What am I trying to say? Intervention. I honestly, even he was a U.S. Marine. So I'm going to find out. I'm going to call. That may not do me any good, but I'm going to call.
She said she's going to tell her ex after her daughter goes off to college this summer.
Oh, Lord.
No, don't tell him. No,
it's been this long. It's been this long.
Don't tell him.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's been this long. I can't imagine.
Just take it to your grave. We'll take it to our grave. No, Lynn, you don't want to tell him. It doesn't matter. Don't tell him. I'm telling you.
Not unless he's like maybe in another country. Maybe.
I don't think I would tell him.
Oh, wow. Ugh. Yeah. Well, let me ask you something. Would you care very much if we end this tonight early? I have such a bad headache and I really need to take something for it and lay down.
I could come over here and take your place, but I didn't study up on the thing, so I can't.
Well, I don't really have anything else. Yeah, you're in Australia, yes, but Melinda's not. That's the thing.
We like Melinda. We don't want Melinda to be in trouble. Yeah, he won't have a headache tomorrow night. I'll lay hands on that boy and pray for him.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is today. Yeah, they are very corrupt. You're very right. But the United States should have done something, Yeah.
I wish that some of y'all could pray out loud. I wish we could hear y'all pray over him.
But I'll be okay. I'm going to take something in a few minutes and lay down.
Okay.
Not long, because I'm about
Yes, sir, not long. You ask somebody to pray for you, and then you say not long. Okay. Father, we come to you right now. And God, we just ask that you pour your healing oil over Tommy from the top of his head to the soles of his feet, that you cause every part of his body to line up and work the way you designed it to. God, I pray that you will take away this headache. And I pray, God, that he will begin to feel better even now. God, I thank you for this group that has come together. And Lord, we just want to help families have closure. So I ask, God, that even now you begin to reveal the truth about what has happened to some of these people. And this guy that was taken down to Mexico, Armando, I pray, God, that you will even now begin to reveal where he is. And Lord, if it's just his body that they find, at least let them know what happened to him. The parents, his dad went with him, but the mom, if he had brothers and sisters, whoever, God, you know who it is. God, I just pray that you will bless us and keep us and bring us back together again tomorrow night. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Okay, y'all have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow night for sure. And let me get down to where I was. And I'm just going to play an outro tonight. Is that little thing I had somebody ask me about No, I didn't, but it is the one I took the other night of the Astro show. And we will see you tomorrow night.
I did a new video of Maggie.
And I'll play that, try to get it together tomorrow. And good night, and stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.